In the listing of red flags that I don't agree with, that I am straight up saying I jacked from Mark McYoung's Facebook page. People threw them up there, and I wanted to respond to them in videos rather than not get paid to respond to them at all. Pennies are better than nothing. I got to paraphrase this because I can't remember it verbatim, but it's basically people feel an instructor is bad if he or she is trying to force you to do techniques in a way that's uncomfortable for your body. Your joints don't bend that way. Your body doesn't move that way. And if you try to do the technique the way that they want you to do it, you try to follow their instructions, you'll end up laid up in the hospital for a month. That's like 85% of how they said it. So basically, they're trying to force you to do a technique a certain way, and it just doesn't work for your body, for your joints. You just can't do it. Now, when I first read that, I disagreed with it. But the more I think about it, in a way, I can see why somebody would have a problem with that. I can see both sides because something like this is really a problem in the kicking arts. Because in the beginning, your instructor wants you to kick a certain way to demonstrate a certain kick. And a lot of times, people, especially these days, it's like the longer I teach, the more I see that people look like they're getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer to me. Like I've never seen so many stiff people. Even the kids are really, really stiff. I mean, you would think that the children would be more flexible and pliable than the adults, but it seems like these days the adults that I get actually have more flexibility than the children. It's weird. It was the reverse when I was coming up. So an instructor may want to try to force you to do a technique a certain way because he or she feels, well, if I try to force somebody to do a technique a certain way, I feel like the only reason you can't do it is because you're really stiff. And then if you work on the stretches and you work on trying to get the kick down, you'll be able to do it. And on the flip side of that, like there's a kick I really just can't do very well, even though I've used it. I've used it in sparring and on it in forms, but I really don't do it well. And that's the hook kick. Any variation of the hook kick, some people call it reverse hook kick or reverse turning kick or reverse roundhouse kick. The kick where you instead of kicking your leg out to the side, you're bringing your heel in this way. I really have a hard time with that because of the way my hips are shaped. My hips do not like that kick. But I practice it and I do it because I found that the more I worked on that kick that was really weak for me, the kicks that were strong for me got better. So I guess working that joint and loosening that joint up makes my other kicks better. So now that I'm getting older, jump kicks are harder for me. Any sort of jump kick. But I'm going to keep working them as long as I can, as long as I know I'm not damaging my joints. Now, an instance where a technique that I just flat out could not do, it was just because I didn't have the balance to do it. And I'm glad the instructor made me do it, is the roundhouse kick. That was my absolute worst kick. I bet if I had learned the hook kick before the roundhouse kick, I probably would have been able to do the hook kick, but not the roundhouse kick. When I used to do it, I'd fall over. Every single time I would fall. Now I'm glad he made me do it because the only problem was just my own balance. I needed to work on my balance and my coordination. And doing that kick helped me work on my balance and my coordination. And it made me more flexible in the legs. And then that actually, for years, that was my strongest kick. The roundhouse kick. The kick I couldn't do. Ended up being my strongest kick. So, in that sense, knowing that, that's why I would say that trying to force somebody to do a technique that just doesn't work for them, or they feel like doesn't work for them, they feel like it's hard for them, it's uncomfortable. No, they're making you do it because it's actually strengthening you, even though it feels uncomfortable in the beginning. After a while, who knows, it's going to be your strongest technique. Now, I will say this. If you know that you can't do a technique because of some type of medical condition or some type of severe injury that you have, and they try to force you to do it anyway, no, that's wrong. That's a bad instructor. So you're going to have to make a judgment call on that. If you know it just feels uncomfortable because it's weird or because it's unfamiliar, like with me with spinning back kicks, I'm just not good at. I say I'm not good at them, even though I've caught people with them. But they're good to practice. I feel like I'm never going to use it, even though I've caught people with it. They're still good to practice. I'll still practice the hook kick, even though I don't like it, because it's good to practice. Because, like I said, it's like it tunes up other things in the body. But now this is when I stopped doing the hook kick, and it wasn't even me that pointed it out. I was doing the hook kick. It actually got to the point where it was loose on me, and it really wasn't that much of a problem for me to do it. But then one day, like my neck, I noticed my neck was a little sore, and I was doing it. And the guy teaching the class was looking at me. The instructor said, "Are you wincing a little bit on that hook kick?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I guess, yeah, I am." He said, "Then you gotta stop doing it." I said, "Oh, it's damaging you now. You need to stop." And I was like, "No, I'm finally getting this kick up to be like this." But he was right. So I stopped doing it that much. And the height, because I had it I had it like up over my head. And so I had to bring it back down to where it's near my chest. And now sometimes I get it back up at the head again. But what I do is I pretty much only do it in the forms that requirement so I can keep it. And if I feel anything in the neck with that kick, I stop for a while. Usually I have to stop for like a week or two, and it's gone, and then I'm back to where I need to be. So if an instructor's making you work through injury, and if you feel bones in your body grinding together when you do it, or you feel like a nerve is being pinched, or you feel like bones and joints are separating when you're doing the technique, and they're still trying to make you do it that way, no, that's definitely a red flag. What a lot of instructors will do is this is what I do. If you really truly just can't get a technique after you've learned it, and then a couple of belts later you still can't get it, you're trying but you really can't get it, at least in the form, we just modify the form. I do that. I just modify the form for you. But I tell you, now remember how it was taught initially, the initial version? Yeah, initially you do this. But you're doing a modified version for yourself, for your ability, and then that's fine. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to close. It's just like me with the form called Toige. A lot of people do Toige these days. They do either stomps or they do waist level circle/crescent kicks. I do my Toige with head level crescent kicks/circle kicks. And the reason why I do it that way is because I was taught that way, but I was taught that way because I had the flexibility to do it that way. Now, if I were a bad instructor, I would try to force everyone to do it that way, even if I knew there's no chance they were going to be able to get that flexibility. But most people I've taught, most of them have been younger. And surprisingly, even some of the older ones that I've taught, they pick it up. Oh, you mean like they'll pick it up. So in an instance like that, I'm the anomaly. I'm the odd person out. So I'll tell them there are these 3 different ways of doing it. You try to do it whichever way you know you can. And most people just try to go for the high kicks because I guess everybody likes high kicks because everybody likes to see high kicks. So I can say that's a red flag that I disagree with, but not completely. So basically, if you're an adult, you just gotta let your conscience be your guide. If you're a kid, run it by your parents. You guys discuss it, and then talk about it with the teacher. And most importantly, talk about it with your doctor. If your doctor says you're not supposed to do something, or you describe something, the doctor's like, "Oh, because of your condition XYZ, you can't do ABC," then that's enough. And if the instructor can't accept that, then that's a red flag, and that's definitely an instructor to avoid. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. And thanks to my one viewer who's peeking at me on my live stream. Thank you very much, sir or madam, and peace. Have a good day.